Welcome back to the show, folks. It's Friday evening. The weekend is starting. It's football all weekend and all. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. But we got another drive time show for you today. We're going to be talking about wrestling. I thought I'd jump on and talk about WWE and the changes that are happening with the TKO and Endeavour influence now and stuff like that. Some of it I can kind of connect with because it's happened to me similar in the past in my own positions and stuff like that. But before we do that, of course, it is the upper tier. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and of course share the content, spread the word. So today we're going to be talking about WWE and all these releases and all that kind of stuff. And of course, when we're doing these videos, these type of videos, I'm conscious of people losing their jobs and how stressful that can be, and especially in this case as well, if you have a lot of overseas people and stuff like that, they end up losing their work visas and all this kind of stuff and all, and it just adds to the stress where you have X amount of days to exit the States and all. There's a lot of parameters involved in it, so a lot of stress, so we have to be conscious of that as well, even when we're talking about these things. So I suppose when you go back, if you go back just over a week ago or whatever it is, they got listed on the stock exchange, the merger, which now has unfolded really more like a hostile invasion than a merger, to be honest. And we've seen this has happened in the past and stuff like that, because when Endeavour took over the UFC back in 2016, they went through the same cost-cutting measures in the UFC to trim it right down. Now, the word on the street is that they're looking to make savings of somewhere between 50 and 100 million in the WWE cost base. So that begs the question, and this is the question I often ask when these things happen. I mean, word got out last Friday, staff were sent home. They were going to be contacted to be let go or whatever it was. If you weren't contacted, you still had a job, and over 100 office staff apparently were let go. Now that's a massive dent. So you ask yourself, what was this 100 people doing? What were they doing day in, day out, week in, week out? That you can just get rid of this 100 staff. Now, I know there would be crossover somewhat in terms of, IT staff and all that kind of stuff, and maybe somewhat shared services and stuff like that, like marketing and kind of stuff like that. But you're talking about 100 staff was let go. And of course, then the staff who did survive the cuts, I would dare say the initial round of cuts as well, had to come into work that next week. People they might have been working with for 10, 15, 20 years, maybe, who knows, are gone. Offices are empty, desks are empty. You might have been in a department where there was 8 or 10 of you working in that department. Now there's only 2. And that all adds to the stress of the people who are there, not discounting the stress of the people who have just lost their jobs. And for some of these people might have been lifers in WWE. So all they know is WWE. They don't know any different. They might have went in there as graduates or postgraduates, whatever they were doing, but all they've done is WWE, so they don't know any different. So it's obviously very difficult, and we have to be conscious of those people. But then yesterday news started to break, and we were having this bleak, dark Black Thursday kicking in, where releases were now coming on the roster. And you look at the roster situation as well. And I often say this about this WWE roster. When you look at the shows that they put out, and you look at the volume of people they need in terms of producing those shows, the roster members and stuff like that, you often wonder why they carry such a heavy amount of people. There's talk sometimes that the roster situation, or athletes, if you want, that are signed to WWE, could be 160 or 180 or something like that. But then you look at Raw, and you can probably put on a solid Raw show with 10, maybe 15 wrestlers. And even if you needed an extra few in case there's an injury or someone gets caught up on travel or whatever it is, so you have people on standby as well. So let's suppose it's even 20. So if you're putting 4 shows together a week, that's 80. Now obviously you need to have people in there that you're developing and training, and the next cycle of people potentially coming through and stuff like that. But I often find when you look at the numbers that they have signed, that it's quite bloated at that level. So hence we started getting information yesterday, and it started filtering through people being let go, and and it's some of them we recognise, some of them we don't, unless you really follow it deep and stuff like that. But nonetheless, some strange ones, you know what I mean? Like you had Emma yesterday, You know, they announced that this big show, Elimination Chamber, is going to be in Perth, Australia. Emma was putting out a post to promote the show, and the next thing was, well, I needn't have bothered because I've just been let go. You know what I mean? That's a tough one. That's one that you can relate to and go, that's really bad. You know what I mean? It's just bad timing and all that kind of stuff and all, you know. And then we know they're in talks with Cristiano Ronaldo about Crown Jewel and stuff like that, and Mustafa Ali was lined up to face Dominic at No Mercy, binned off. You know, so many of these guys connected to the Crown Jewel situation all binned off, and it's just a weird feeling about it. And what really hurts as well is when you look at it and you think, a week ago they announced, after the merger, these bonuses for people who took part in the merger, and you're looking at it, you know, you're looking at like Triple H 5 million, you know, Frank Riddick 5 million, Kevin Dunn 7 million, Nick Khan 15 million. That's what these guys are getting in bonuses for making this merger happen. And then on the other side of that, you think of the typical down-to-earth office worker who's going in doing his 9 to 5, or I doubt many of them do 9 to 5 if they're under Vince's wing, because we know he's an absolute workaholic. But they're in there every day grafting the best they can and stuff like that. You really have to ask yourself, how much of that 100 staff that was let go were shared services? You know, IT, marketing, I don't know, ring stroke octagon crew, whatever it is, you know. And then you have to talk about how, like, these shows are going out simultaneously at times, you know what I mean? Like, if you're doing a big prime live event for WWE, generally on those weekends there's a UFC happening, you know what I mean? And we know the difficulty that WWE is facing now with the football season back and stuff like that. We've seen Raw reaching its lowest rating in a long time, 1.3 million or something like that, you know, up against American football and the NFL, which is just the embodiment of sport in the States and stuff like that from a viewership point of view. So they're facing an awful lot of other of those challenges as well out there and stuff. But I just thought, like, you go a week on from the announcement of these guys picking up massive bonuses, you know, to the situation where 100 office staff are losing their jobs, and, you know, there's, I don't know, 18 to 30 people maybe on the roster losing their jobs as well. Now, some of them we can talk about, and, you know, some of them is kind of we have connected with and stuff like that. Others not so much, that were on the list and stuff like that. But certainly, if we talk, I mean, the big one for me was Dolph Ziggler obviously being let go. Practically 20 years in the business, you know what I mean? And it's just, I know he had done a couple of podcasts where he was asked to reflect on his career and all, and what he felt he achieved, and, you know, some of the answers were basically the money, which is kind of a throwaway comment and stuff like that and all. But if you look at Dolph Ziggler, you know, always available, always open to ideas, fantastic worker, brilliant as a heel or a baby face, you know, 20 years experience in there, probably still has a lot to offer. Now, whether you have a conversation with that guy in terms of a different contract, do you want him to get involved in the Performance Center, do you want him to get involved in NXT, whatever it is. But you don't just let 20 years of experience walk out your door just because you're not using them. Because if you're not using them, we've seen even with the stuff with Bobby Roode is really, really good. And, like, just, you know, it's just a really, really weird situation when you see a guy like that going out the door who has 20 years experience working in the company and stuff like that. Surely that guy has some value there that can be seen and stuff like that. Then you look at who was after that. Mustafa Ali, we just spoke about and stuff like that. Exceptional athlete, brilliant wrestler. You know, pinned to face Dominic Mysterio for the North American title at No Mercy, binned off. You know, again, very, very disappointed. Then you talk about Rick Boogs, and, like, he got binned off as well. And we were there at WrestleMania 38 when he picked up that injury, you know, and, you know, it was really, really unfortunate because he was starting to do stuff. And then he missed, I think it was a whole year nearly he missed with that injury, you know. But he was a really, really talented guy as well, you know. And, you know, the thing about it is with Rick Boogs as well, he kind of made Shinsuke Nakamura somewhat interesting, you know. And I know that's a little bit harsh. Shinsuke's a great athlete and all that, great wrestler and stuff like that. but just kind of flatlines at times, you know what I mean? And Boogs kind of made it a bit more interesting with the entrance and stuff like that. So again, him not crazy mad and shocked to see him on the list, but again, with the right creativity and stuff like that, and the right people in place, probably had a lot more to offer. Elias is one that kind of stuck with me a little bit. I was a big fan of Elias. Always liked him, always liked his work. I thought he was cool. The stuff he did in the ring, it was kind of modern day kind of rock stuff, you know. I thought he was really, really cool. I didn't necessarily like the Ezekiel stuff, the brother stuff. I thought that was kind of shit. But certainly the moments he had with Cena that we were at, and the moments he had with Undertaker and stuff like that, were really, really cool. And I liked his tweet, you know what I mean? He went out really, really classy. He put a tweet out saying that, you know, stuff like the moments he had with John Cena and the Undertaker and traveling the world and the opportunity that WWE had given him and all. And you know, he was so thankful for it and stuff like that. So you can see this guy's a proper human being, and he's real, you know, he's thankful, and you know, he's respectful of the situation and stuff like that. And probably he had disappeared a bit off our screens quite a bit, and kind of maybe we had kind of moved on, and maybe creative needed to kind of rebuild him some way. We spoke about it with Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory needs a major reboot. I think he's fallen away badly since the peak of 38 with Vince and those guys and stuff like that, you know. Shelton Benjamin, who was really part of the fabric of WWE's the boomerang that keeps on coming back. Unbelievable athlete. Surely that guy had a position somewhere in the performance center as a coach or something like that, with something to give. You know what I mean? Again, they hadn't done much with him. There was, you know, bits with the Hurt Business and stuff like that, and then he, you know, but a lot of what he's gotten involved in, a lot of it has been very, very low key, but highly Mr. Dependable and stuff like that, you know. Some of those moments he's given us, those Money in the Bank moments, absolutely crazy. And of course, being a part of Team Angle, and of course we're talking about wrestlers at the moment in OVW, how big a part of OVW's success was Shelton Benjamin. Unbelievable athlete and stuff like that. So sad to see Shelton go, but methinks in time Shelton will come back as well. As I said, I think of Shelton Benjamin as the boomerang. You throw him away and he just keeps on coming back. But yeah, that was that one then. Emma, we spoke about, of course, heartbreaking when you put out a tweet like that promoting a big show in your home country and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you're let go. But what I would say for the likes of Emma and stuff like that, I think she'll probably be used on the show. So I wouldn't be too disheartened. Obviously down about losing your job, but I wouldn't be too disheartened in relation to the Perth show. I think they'll probably end up using it. But yeah, that was really what I wanted to talk about. It's just it's a tough one, you know. I've experienced it myself working in a company for a long time, and you know, and then it just for one reason or another gets taken over, or it doesn't work out, and you know, that adjustment that you, like, imagine the adjustment Dolph Ziggler has to make now. 20 years in WWE, and a number of times he's been at that door, he's been at that exit door, and it's always come back from him and stuff like that. And even a couple of times when he's out of contract, it's been close to him going, and he's always renewed his contract. So there's a massive loyalty there as well from Ziggler to WWE. And let's be honest, Dolph Ziggler's talented enough to go into Hollywood and do stuff potentially, you know. So a little bit sad to see him go, but very interested to see how these guys do now and what they're potentially going to do. Obviously Dolph could go join the Bro in AEW or whatever it is and see what happens there. You never know, you might get a funny version of Spirit Squad 2.0 or something like that, you know. Excited to see what Shelton does, excited to see what Elias does, you know. Be interesting to see what Elias does as well. But yeah, certainly interesting times. And look, other people got let go as well. Top Dollar got let go, Elia got let go, Maximum Man Models, Dana Brooke got let go, you know what I mean, Shanky, and not just to mention a few. So look, we wish them all the best. We hope that they all find whatever they're looking for. Never take these things personally, it's always just business. But I know it's very hard to take when you see executives getting paid millions in bonuses. You see Vince sitting there, and you know, all this talk coming out now that he might have to exit the situation with what's going on, and it could have been pre-planned, and sounds like a little bit of market manipulation to me, just saying, you know what I mean. Potentially going to receive another $3 billion, you know, wealth that people like me and you can't even comprehend. And not nice when people are losing their jobs. So what we would say is to those people, boys and girls who have been let go, the office staff, the roster members, and I'm sure there's going to be more. I'm sure there's going to be more trenches of this. This is just the first round of it. So prepare yourselves. But for you people who have already made the decision, go out there, grab the day by the nuts, go out there and make something happen. It's a fresh new start for you. Figure out what you want to do. Take a little bit of time out to decompress. I'm sure working on WWE can be very stressful at times. And let's see where it goes from here. But very concerning at the moment when you look at this whole merger. And I say merger, looks more like a takeover than a merger, but let's see what happens. Until next time, folks, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think about it and stuff like that? Hate to see people losing their jobs. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, share the content, but of course always let us know your thoughts down in the comments, as you guys are the body of this podcast. Until next time, folks, have a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you again real soon.